An alert and knowledgeable citizenry. Eisenhower called for an alert and knowledgeable citizenry to exist. An alert and knowledgeable citizenry might notice when their government is planning on spending $80 billion of their dollars to hire more IRS agents to then target themselves. Did anyone vote on this? I didn't vote on it. Did you vote on it? Do you even think this is logical? Because an alert and knowledgeable citizenry might pay attention to this and might decide this is illogical. An alert and knowledgeable citizenry might understand where inflation comes from. They may understand, for example, that the Fed's monetary policy is what generally affects the inflation, the prices, the interest rates. We have highlighted here, the Fed moves have a gradual effect on inflation, but consumers, some side effects are more immediate. Borrowers pay more for loans, for mortgages, and to run balances on their credit cards. Basically, they're saying that this Inflation Reduction Act won't actually reduce inflation in the short term because the Fed has the ability to do that through its monetary policy. In the long run, it might help, but it's at a targeted audience. And when I say a targeted audience, I mean a targeted sector. So the healthcare costs and things like that. And an informed and alert citizenry might think about questioning things like this. An informed and alert citizenry might take note that a further $4.5 billion is being used to supply weapons to a foreign nation. $4.5 billion. That is your money. And did you vote on spending that $4.5 billion abroad? I mean, I'm not an advocate for stimmy checks, but $4.5 billion plus $80 billion? You don't think that could have been better used? I'm pretty sure you could have used $80 billion a bit better than hiring more agents. And it might have been wise to spend $4.5 billion to upgrade infrastructure or something like that. But yeah, so an informed and alert citizenry might notice that. An informed and alert citizenry might pay attention to the situation boiling away in Taiwan. They're wargaming it, mapping out what could and could not happen. I can assure you, if it does take place, it is not going to be cheap. If $4.5 billion in one day is being sent out, what do you think a full-blown war would look like? To hold Taiwan at which could cost a lot of lives, a lot of equipment, huge expenses, the loss of many assets on all sides. But an informed and alert citizenry might notice that. Now this is, I've been thinking about how to tackle this, because if you have an informed and alert citizenry, they might understand things like how inflation works, where the money comes from, how their money's spent, where their country is entangled in foreign wars, where how cryptocurrency works, how it functions, and how to use it. In this case, we are seeing Circle blacklisting wallet addresses, essentially saying if you somehow appear on this wallet address, if you somehow appear on this list, this wallet address, you can't move your USDC, you can't receive it, you can't send it out. Now, where have you heard this before? It reminds me of a central bank digital currency, whereby you're issued coupons that you are told how you can and cannot spend your coupons. Where else have you heard it? It reminds you of Sesame Credit, where you may have money, but you can't actually spend it because you've been naughty, according to the list. Maybe it gets seized. Maybe it just gets frozen. So we've got a blacklist policy with a cryptocurrency Circle, USDC backed by Circle, backed by fiat, sorry. So USDC is basically an equivalent of a central bank digital currency now. And just like we saw with events that have taken place in the history, it's no longer required that government even directly mandate or intervene. They will have the companies do their bidding for them. So if you have infrastructure reliant on such things, it may be the case where your assets are frozen. And it's not because the government directly told anyone to freeze them, except for the existing sanction, I guess you'd call it, on those wallets listed because of the use through Tornado Cash, a smart contract. No, it's because if you now, on top of that, in a complex system, have an alert raised and your wallet's been flagged and you get put on a list, you can no longer function. You can't receive your cryptocurrency. You can't spend your cryptocurrency. It gets frozen. See, this is what I'm not understanding. Is this an ongoing process whereby you somehow end up with coins that have gone through a mixer? Is it the objective to trace them and then have every wallet they've ever touched frozen? Like, that's so illogical. That is like stifling innovation to the max. It's like, oh, but you've got to stop the North Korean launderers. Like, you can't, if you can figure out where the coins are going through the mixer and through this particular wallet, you're telling me you can't figure out with all your capabilities where the fiat hits an account. It's that hard. It's so hard that you decided to sanction a smart contract. Now, it's almost as if through this release, people want to be outraged. The outrage marketing to cause mass anger. So I thought I'd take a different approach. I would try and wargame what could happen next. Now that we've seen the sanction put in place, we've seen wallets are banned, we've seen their reasons why, and we've seen basically how it's going to function. We have a follow-up article basically saying it's the first smart contract to get sanctioned by the US government, Tornado Cash. They banned it to prevent North Korean criminals from laundering money. Now, I mentioned that before. You would think with all the might, the computing power, they'll be able to figure out where the actual cash is coming out of the system. So if it's going into the system and they know it's being laundered, they know where it's going. Oh look, this North Korean over here has ended up with like $1 billion in cash. which I'm pretty sure the amount is not even that much they mentioned. They've got millions and millions of dollars all of a sudden, and they're withdrawing it from a bank account. So you're telling me the systems in place aren't equipped to deal with that? That's what you're telling me. So the solution is to set a precedent to be able to sanction smart contracts. That's reminding me of when they tried to they tried to ban like Pirate Bay for some reason. It reminds me of that. I don't know why. But the thing about this is, you have a smart contract, and if it's used by anyone for privacy reasons, like the purpose of it, you've lost that right now. That freedom's gone because the government said so. It's very, very interesting that this chain of events is taking place in the order that they are taking place. You're seeing big, large hedge funds come in and partner directly back third parties, middlemen, exchanges, who apparently haven't got the ability to detect if North Koreans are taking out money in their jurisdiction, you know. So instead, the US government decided to sanction a smart contract, and at the same time making the hedge fund BlackRock feel a lot better because, you know, their precious USDC is more safe now. Doesn't matter if you know, they could have changed the entire crypto space for the worse, because obviously they understand cryptocurrency better than everyone else, and maybe they've got a little plan in place to try and fuck the cryptocurrency system. But what if someone outside the US mixes their funds through Tornado, then puts it back up on Uniswap, and then somehow someone gets those dirty tokens from Uniswap? Did they just break the law now? Did they? Or is it now that Uniswap's going to have to implement and roll out, you know, further requirements, and if they don't meet those requirements, then they'll get sanctions. Oh, and then every, you know, what is it, non-custodial wallet will be required to, you know, register and have like a have their address registered, because if they're not registered, then basically all those wallets that aren't registered and have ever interacted with any other wallet in a complex system, oh yeah, so they're just going to get all blocked and have all their assets frozen under this system. Oh, what's that? Oh, we can, no, that'll never happen. Okay, no, we'll just take control of, we'll put enough influence and pressure on the actual infrastructure provider. So without the infrastructure, you won't be able to do this. So there's an article basically saying that, you know, if inferior node providers, you know, Ethereum node providers to blacklist Tornado. So you want to play ball, you want to use this crypto, you're not only going to have to get down on your knees to middlemen. The influence provided by large institutions and hedge funds are now going to be co-opted by the government and vice versa. And then they are going to put direct influence and direct pressure on node operators. Can you imagine, like, can you see where this is going? Can you imagine, and every wallet that's not registered, that's not KYC'd, that's ever touched a equivalent of USDC, has at some level, is somehow tied to North Korean hackers. And because of that, we need to sanction and freeze all assets on those particular wallets. Doesn't that make you just want to build your own system? Doesn't that, and it's not even because you're doing anything wrong, it's just because this entire bullshit that is taking place is leading up to more control, less freedoms. You're not doing anything wrong? It doesn't matter. We're going to come into your house now. We're going to take your wallets away from you, your address. We're going to blacklist your address. Because there's the potential that, you know, you might be a criminal, and you know, because of that, we're from the government and we're here to help. And we're going to apply pressure to exchanges, and we're going to apply pressure to node providers of the actual Ethereum network. The actual node provider, yeah. So if Trump's mansion can be raided by the FBI, and there's more ability to audit cryptocurrencies now with this new $80 billion spend on the smaller people who may engage with cryptocurrency. Maybe they're small business owners, they want to pay their own employees, but they can't do it privately anymore. They have to have all their wallets out in the open. So why not just take it one step further and take all those wallets away because they're not registered, and we'll freeze them. How about that? Oh, you don't like that? We'll attack your Ethereum node providers, because if the node providers don't play ball, we'll take them down offline. How's that sound? You know how there's like that meme? It's like amateurs. One end it's like the criminals, and like the chads of the criminal underworld is actually the government. Have you seen that meme? Like, can you see where this is going? This is why people need to maybe be an informed and alert citizenry, and and do what? Understand this to start off with. We need to push back legally and lawfully every possible way. This is absolutely the march towards all-out authoritarianism. Now, you're going to see this everywhere. Everyone's going to whinge and bitch and cry because they're losing their freedoms. But ultimately, in the end, we're sitting on our asses doing nothing. What have we actually achieved? We've been sitting here in this space for how long, and what have we achieved? We've seen Bitcoin be co-opted by legacy finance. It's part of the derivatives play now. Derivatives is like some huge, insane number. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those contracts are all tied up in that now. All controlled by large funds. Multiple funds. The largest being BlackRock, and now BlackRock's co-opted the exchange that a lot of people use. And now they're coming for addresses. And now they're coming for now they've rolled out the ability to freeze their tokens, freeze. What do you think's gonna happen if they ever say, well, we've decided that this USDC, we're gonna swap this out for a central bank digital currency. You can exchange it 1-for-1, given this date, by that date. If you don't exchange it 1-for-1, then nothing's gonna work. How about that, people? What do you think about that? Is that what cryptocurrency was designed for? Here we go. Prompting the debate over the risk of trusting centralized parties like Circle when using Web3. Just like Circle, Alchemy, and Infowarrior are centralized services that many crypto users rely on daily. Ethereum users in countries like Iran have previously struggled to access products like OpenSea and MetaMask after Infowarrior complied with US sanctions. Now, again, this is to protect you. We need to take away your freedoms to protect you, right? Imagine, I keep harping on this, imagine if your wallet you have right now with all your cryptocurrency on it is on a blacklist, is blacklisted. What are you going to do? It's frozen. Everything gets frozen. Then what? What do you do? Sit there and pray to God that someone saves you? Good luck. Good luck. Because all I'm seeing is the constant encroachment on our freedoms. I thought they would leave me alone in my own house. No. I got ridiculed, demonized, lost my job because I wouldn't comply with a non-existent mandate. because a business decided to roll out their own mandate? What if a business decides to roll out their own requirements for you to do XYZ? You'll happily go along with it or you'll lose it. When you happily go along with it, they'll roll out another requirement that will lead us directly into a central bank digital currency. It's right in front of our face. We're going to have to figure out a way to push back politically on this, because I'm not sure, but if you're quite happy with the current government and how they're performing, then by all means, continue on. But just in saying that, if you think the government's going to come and save you, you have another thing coming. How do you know? You don't change government. They don't even understand what is going on in this crypto space, because the people pulling the actual strings are getting so much traction. They're that far ahead of us, we have no chance of ever catching them. Every vector is covered. The ins and outs. Now they're going for the wallets. Now they're going for the stables. Holy shit. Again, without overreacting and being dramatical and saying, oh, the end of the crypto is coming. It's not. And like I've said many times, cryptocurrency is changing. I'm not sure what it's changing to. We're now seeing BlackRock enter this space. We're now seeing all sorts of central bank digital currencies being proposed. We're now seeing governments openly supporting cryptocurrencies as long as they can control them. And what have we seen? The US government coming out and showing force by saying we can definitely control them. But this is the funny part, right? We have this here basically saying US government sanctions on Tonoda Cash will surely be effective at stopping people using it. It's a sanction on a smart contract. Now, furthermore, my favorite comment from the below is Monday's move freezes any US assets of the mixer and generally bars Americans from dealing with it. The whole technology behind blockchain means you can't locate the US assets without an enormous forensic exercise, and they definitely can't freeze crypto assets in Tornado. Well, I'm pretty sure they actually did. I hope nobody copies the GitHub repo and spin up the exact same smart contract called Cyclone Cash, trademark pending, and Hurry Cash. Okay, you can have this one. Or use two mixers to mask their previous Tornado Cash activity. Hopefully, nobody does the above things to skirt US sanctions with great ease. See, this is what I understand. Like, cryptocurrency was invented, it's been allowed to run. And it run. And now it's getting to the point where, okay, we've let it run. We're going to start reining in controls. We're going to start regulating it. We're going to start tracking and tracing everything further. How are they going to get from where they are now to the objective of ultimate control, central bank digital currency, the ability to freeze assets, the ability to see assets, the ability to tell things like, I don't know, your location, because they'll need to know the location of the asset. Yeah, I'm not sure whether they FUD the crap out of most of the shit in crypto right now, including the node providers, including the wallet providers, or what? Or just keep kicking the can down the road, rolling the boat happily, merrily down the bloody stream. Life is but a dream. You know, remember that? Remember that, people? And then we get a picture of a toilet from Trump's raid. And then we've got the sanction implications. We've got the fun, the risks, the evil mixer. It's the notorious virtual currency. See, this is the thing. So what about when anyone that uses it gets put on a blacklist automatically? Is that what's going to happen? Or is it that, I'm not going to say anything more. But yeah, here's the addresses. So if they've got these addresses Why did they sanction the smart contract again? Oh, because the address it's mixing it and we can't find it. Okay, so how did you find these addresses? Okay, so you're really telling me that the same people that control the money supply and control the monetary policy and control the healthcare are the same people that are rolling out these really good sanctions? I'm starting to question whether or not this is for the better of humanity or for control over the people abroad. Like, seriously. Yeah, I just don't know whether to FUD the crap out of USDC right now and Ethereum, whilst at the same time wanting Ethereum to get better, obviously, for the better of cryptocurrency. But if for the better of the cryptocurrency means that we're all going to be tracked and traced and have our freedoms taken away from us eventually because we might have touched one wrong coin that entered our wallet. So what do you do now? You don't like someone, you chuck it through a mixer, send them one USDC and their whole wallet gets frozen because their address is blacklisted? Yeah, I can't see any issues with that going forward. None at all, you know, what could go wrong? But yes, now we play the waiting game and see what's next. Will fear prevail? And will we see, like we saw the treatments, various treatments, that everyone herded everyone else into complying when legally there was no requirement at all? It's up to you. It's up to you, people. You need to look in the mirror. Because from what I'm seeing, after being a HEXican for a long time now, being an Infowarrior for a little bit now, I've just seen things go from just get so much worse. The only good thing I can see is the upcoming Richard Heart ecosphere. This might be a direct counter blow to whatever's trying to mess with all of us in cryptocurrency. And it's not just HEXicans that are going to be saved, potentially. It's the entire network of Ethereum. Everyone who's working on anything there has the ability, if they want, when the airdrop takes place, to come over. Because how do you know you'll... I don't want to say it. If they're going after smart contracts and addresses, what do you think is going to happen next? I know if this was a gun law debate, it would go something like, first comes registration, then comes confiscation. You know? But yeah, some people, guns are bad, so I won't go there. Some people are like, oh, Infowars is bad, so I won't go there. Even though there's a documentary coming out, and we all love documentaries. But yeah, just in closing, if the FBI can raid Trump, whether you like him or hate him, he was the US president, former now. What can they do to you? Signing